All right, we're continuing 7-6. I want to look at this word problem. So we're not going to do all of the parts, but we are gonna construct an equation, and we're going to figure out how much money they're going to have after 4 years. So the question says six friends have put $250 into a single account that earns 5.5% annually. The interest earned is added to the account at the end of each year. The friends want to use the money in the account to go on vacation after 4 years. So we want to figure out how much money is in the account after 4 years. So we're going to make an equation that's going to let us figure that out. So remember that our exponential equation form is y equals ab to the x, where a is going to be our initial amount. So we know that we started with $250. So a is going to be 250. We don't know what b is yet, so let's look at that. So a is always the initial amount, and now we're going to figure out what we need to multiply by each time. So we know it has to have something to do with this 5.5% annually. So when I'm calculating interest, I'm taking the initial amount times the percentage, but I have to turn the percentage into a decimal. So instead of multiplying by 5.5, I have to change it into a decimal. So I have to multiply by 5.055. Remember, we moved the decimal 2 places when we are changing a percent into a decimal. We move that decimal point 2 places. So it's 0.055 is what I'm multiplying by. That would give me my interest. Then to figure out how much I have in my account, I have to add whatever the interest was. I have to add that to the initial amount. Okay. So I'm going to demonstrate this. You're not going to have to do this each time. I'm going to show you a shortcut. But so to figure out figuring out what the interest is and then adding it to the initial amount each time, to figure out what I need to multiply by the initial amount to go straight to what my new amount is, I'm going to factor out the 250. So in other words, I'm going to figure out 250 times what, right? I'm kind of going to undistribute and figure out 250 times what is going to equal this. So this first one is 250 times 0.055 plus this part is 250 times 1, right? So do you see that if I distributed this, I would be back to here? This is called factoring out the greatest common factor, or factoring out a common factor. So that's what I've done here. I've factored out 250. So this times 250 is going to give me my new amount after 1 year of interest. So if I add these, if I add the 250, the 1 plus 0.055, I get 250 times 0.05. Sorry, the whole point was I was adding 1 to that. So I get 250 times 1.055. So this would be the amount that I would have after 1 year. So then to figure out how much I have after 2 years, I'd have to multiply all of this by 1.055 again. And then for 3 years, I'd have to multiply that by 1.055 again. So in other words, for every year, I have to multiply by 1.055 again, which means if I just put the number of years in the exponent, that's going to give me my new amount. So the shortcut here is the thing that's going to be your base, the thing that's going to go in your parentheses is always going to be 1 plus your percentage. It's always going to be 1 plus your percentage. So when you have a percent interest, when you have something is going up by a percent, anytime you have something that's going to go up by a percent, let's call that the rate. Let's call that the rate. I'm going to use an R there. 1 plus R is going to be my base. Anytime I have something that's increasing by a percent, 1 plus whatever that percentage is as a decimal. Always remember to write it as a decimal. R is a decimal. So whatever my percentage is as a decimal, 1 plus that is going to be my base if I have something that's increasing by that percentage. So this is going to be 1.055 to the x. That's going to be my equation. So all of this was just to show you why it's 1 plus the percent. I don't expect you to do all of this every time. You can go straight to, oh, it's a percentage, then I need 1 plus my percentage. So if I'm going up by a percent, it's going to be 1 plus the percentage, and that's called growth. And we're going to talk about that more in a different section. But if I have a percentage, this is what and it's going up by that, this is what I'm going to do. All right, so if then I want to know how much money I'm going to have after 4 years, well, it goes up by that percentage every year. So my x is in years. So if I want to know at the end of 4 years, then my x is going to be 4. So I'm going to get y equals 250 times 1.055 to the 4th power. That's a sloppy 4. To the 4th power. So I'm just going to put that in a calculator. 250 times 1.055 to the power of 4. And that's going to be 309.7. So at the end of, that's 0.7. At the end of 4 years, they're going to have $309.70. All right, so this is how you deal with it when you have a percentage. Basically, remember that your initial value is your A, and then your B is going to be 1 plus your percent as a decimal. All right, let me know if you have any questions.